Well, it's perfect.
Yeah, it was good. So we are live and we've got followers here on Instagram, and we are recording this for all of our Zoom callers and YouTube followers later on. But we're going to just jump right in, I guess, and introduce Sarah with Lifelong Nutrition. Sarah is an accomplished runner, newly ultra runner. When was your first ultra race? Was it in this last year?
I'm trying to remember. No, the year before, the Leadville 50 miler Silver Rush was my first one. And then my second one was Weld Your Metal.
That's right.
And then third one was the Leadville 100. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. So you accomplished all these ultras in the same year that you did Boston.
Boston. Yeah, I did Boston, and then a couple months later, Leadville.
Yeah. A lot of fast marathons. So Sarah is a very fast road runner and then recently transferred over into ultra running. So it might be too soon to ask. I know, like, we talk about this all the time, but
Yeah.
will you
I'll
let
say
us?
I transferred over. We're not there yet.
Okay, so you haven't transferred. Will you go back and do Leadville again?
Leadville 100?
Mm-hmm.
Not in the next few years, for sure. I'm going back to Leadville to do the marathon this summer.
Oh, we're going back for the marathon.
Yep, Amanda, you're coming too.
Nice.
But nope, I plan on crewing the 100 for Alice Isom whenever she gets her coin.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't have any serious plans to do Leadville 100 again right now. I would like to check out some other races though.
Yeah, for sure. Well, kudos to you. So with that lead up, I talk about that because Sarah is a registered dietitian, an accomplished runner on so many levels herself. So road running, fast running, now ultra running. She has been a run coach and helps athletes and just people of all levels just help with goals, nutrition goals, training goals. So yeah, and she's been a part of the Run Windsor family for many years. I'm not even
Yeah,
sure how many,
since
but
what was it? 2019 or 2018? Trying to remember. I think 2018.
18
Yeah.
in the good old days before
Yeah.
we dealt with a crash of everything. But we've built back up, and yeah, you've remained a staple of the community. So we are excited to have you.
Thank you for having me.
And this challenge, which we were just talking before everyone joined us virtually, like, this is just a hard time of year. And I don't know, maybe there's just always hard times in every season that we go through, but it's dark, it's cold, we're going through ups and downs with everything, with training and trying to get and exercise ourselves, with school
Yeah,
and work. So this challenge is a fun, just like time out in our day to like think about what we're doing to take care of ourselves. So thank
it
you guys.
is. It's a good reminder. But
Let's
should I just jump right in?
jump right in. Yeah, let's hear what
Okay.
we talk about
Well,
tonight. And
yeah.
anyone who is joining us on Instagram, you guys feel free to chime in and ask questions, comments, and anything you ask, I will relay onto Sarah so she can talk about those things. And then, of course, at the end of the chat, we'll give contact information for Sarah. So if you want to reach out to her afterwards, then you can.
Yeah, I'm always happy to answer questions afterwards. And I also offer discovery calls if we just want to see if you're a good fit to work together. But yeah, thanks for the introduction. A little bit more about myself. I started Lifelong Nutrition about 5.5 years ago now. So I've been in Northern Colorado for a while, ever since college. Went to CSU. I did my undergraduate work there, graduate. Now I live with my husband and two boys here in Windsor. And I met Mandy basically when we moved to Windsor. I was really looking for a running community, and she adopted me in. But with my business, I see a variety of clients through my practice. Some of my focus areas are sports nutrition, especially endurance runners, athletes. Makes sense. And then also a variety of other health conditions. And I also specialize in healthy aging and the geriatric population, working in rehabilitation and long-term care. I always like to kind of do an introduction of why might you seek out a dietitian. If you're on the fence, not really sure, if it's appropriate for you. But maybe you have a new health diagnosis that you're trying to navigate. Hopefully your physician refers you to somebody. If not, dietitian is a great resource to reach out to. Maybe you have some suspected food allergies or intolerances, GI symptoms, an unhealthy relationship with food or body image. And then maybe you have some performance goals, trying to fuel for a race, make a race day plan, nutrition lead up to the race, and day-to-day nutrition. So any of those reasons, dietitians are a great resource. So I'd love to hear from you. So this challenge, the Move Through the Darkness challenge, really resonates with me because it's a time of year that I personally struggle with. I have to make a conscious effort to get out of the house, get my runs in. Sometimes I end up on the treadmill, but I really do try to get out and get some sunshine, some vitamin D. But I like how the Move Through the Darkness challenge really incorporates the community and our families. I know my family, they are always on board for joining my team for miles, and it really brings us together and lets us exercise and move together. So it's something I really appreciate about this challenge. But with that movement, with that exercise, the sunshine, we also need nutrition to complement that, to nourish our body. And sometimes coming out of the holidays can be, a shock for a lot of people. During this time, we're so busy rushing around, going to parties, gatherings, events that are a lot of the time focused on food, right? And maybe we feel like we overindulged during the holidays a little bit, but maybe we're also feeling like we're missing that extra connection with people, especially around food. We have really special food memories during that time. So it can be a really joyous time, but it can also be a really stressful time right now, for anybody that's struggling with missing that connection or trying to get back into that day-to-day routine of meal planning when maybe we don't have all of these extra events going on. We probably have some other things filling our schedule now, like kids sports. I'm sure some of you are there right now. But yeah, so having this sudden stop can be kind of hard to figure out where we're going next, and trying to figure out how we bring those joyous parts of the holiday season and New Year forward into the rest of the year, while balancing it with whatever nutrition and health goals we have. Sometimes we get so focused on a specific goal that we forget to enjoy nutrition, enjoy our food. And I see this, I like to see a lot of crossover between the running exercise sphere and nutrition. Sometimes we get so set on like maybe a performance goal, a race goal, that we forget why we're even running in the first place, right? I know Mandy's always saying, like, what's your why? And I specifically wanted to bring this up in the context of, why we're doing this challenge. Move Through the Darkness is all about promoting mental health and supporting ourselves mentally and emotionally through these winter months. So what is our why with nutrition? Why are we fueling our bodies? And how can we bring the joy and fun with food into our goals, into our health goals, our nutrition goals, and kind of have everything work together. So that kind of leads what I want this to be more about tonight. If anybody's been with Run Windsor for a while, you've probably seen me do some talks before, and I focus on I'm all about the science. So I get down into the nitty gritty of eating this many grams of carbohydrates per hour and fueling with your grams of protein. And I don't know. I just felt in my heart like I wanted to move away from that tonight, and really just talk about the broader picture of nutrition and what types of nutrition goals, what they could look like, and how to be successful with setting them. So when I think about nutrition goals and when I'm working with my clients, I feel like a lot of times it can go too much to the negative. Examples would be, I want to eat less sweets. I want to snack less. I want to weigh less. All of these examples of I want to be less, I want to have less nutrition. And I really like flipping the script of, okay, let's change this to like, what are we adding? What can we do more of instead of being in the negative of doing less of? So changing the focus for a more positive goal mindset. I want to eat breakfast every day. I want to fuel more during my runs. I want to add more vegetables to my meals. And bringing in the family and team and community component too. Like, I want to eat more together, like as a family. I want to enjoy family meal times. I want meal times to be less stressful. I want meal prep to be less stressful. Trying to think of it from that perspective. Trying to add something in instead of cutting it out. And also thinking about nutrition goals outside of the context of weight loss, because maybe not in the athlete space, but definitely in the running community too. Some of the first things I hear about are the New Year's resolutions of I want to lose X amount of weight this year, right? But thinking about how can nutrition goals look different from that, and what other parameters can we look at that may go along with weight loss, may not, but are definitely important to our health. Things like I want, improvement in my skin, hair, energy. Some other measures are decreased stress or anxiety around food, decreased stress with meal planning, increased performance, better GI health. All of these things can be parameters that we measure or look at that have nothing to do with weight or a number on the scale. So that's just something to keep in mind when you're setting nutrition goals as well. So looking at steps to take to have effective goal setting, it's kind of standard for any goal setting, I would say. I use these steps when I'm setting my performance and running goals too. So looking at things that are small and achievable, focusing on, 1 or 2 items at a time, not to overwhelm yourself. When I'm talking to athletes, runners, I also like to think about it as like a macro and micro cycle, like you would for running. So what's your overall, like, overarching goal for your nutrition? And what are the smaller steps and goals within that you're going to take to get there? So maybe your overarching goal is I want to feel like I'm just living a healthier life, or I want to have better sleep. What are the smaller goals within that are going to help you meet that overarching goal? Creating a plan. How are you going to achieve that? Maybe through those smaller goals, but also looking at tools, maybe journaling, actually putting it down on pen and paper, making it concrete. That's something with Move Through the Darkness that I think is great. We put our numbers out there, right? We're tracking them. Don't look at mine right now because I haven't put them in for like 5 weeks. But you just making sure that we're creating a plan, holding ourselves accountable there. Taking the focus off of just the outcome, right? So what behavior will help you achieve your goal, or will help you achieve the desired outcome? Focus on this instead. So an example of that might be, I want to have better energy on my runs. So that's the outcome goal. But what behavior is going to lead you there? Maybe it's I'll fuel before my long runs. Maybe it's I will fuel more often during my runs. Maybe I'll take more hydration in during my runs. So being really conscious about those efforts. And then also looking at the goal itself, it has to have meaning. If your goal is to lose 5 pounds, really, what's the meaning behind that goal? Is it to improve your confidence, feel better during physical activity, increase your energy, manage a specific condition? So I think it's circling back to really finding your why, because if you don't have that solid reason and meaning behind any goal, whether you're setting like a specific running goal for yourself or fueling nutrition goal, it's going to be harder to accomplish. Once those goals are set, I think identifying those barriers that may, pop up, stand in your way. Could it be time? Could it be motivation? Could it be financial resources? And these are all things that you can identify or reach out to a dietitian, and I can help you identify those things as well and figure out solutions before they even present themselves. Because it's easy when a barrier comes up of, I don't have time to run. My day is too busy. Some days though, sometimes it does happen, right? We have to admit some days it's hard to fit it in. But if we can identify it and then find a solution beforehand, and then it's easier to work through in that moment. Also, who's going to hold you accountable? We have, for this challenge, we have our run group. For any nutrition goals, is it going to be your partner, your spouse, your kids? Maybe if you have a goal of family meal planning or eating dinners together, the whole family can really be involved in keeping each other accountable, and helping everybody achieve that goal. Could be your run group, your friends, but I encourage you to share your goals with those that are close with you, to have that encouragement, to have that accountability. And then also being able to identify when a goal is not working is really important. You have to be kind to yourself with adjusting goals, adjusting timelines when you need to. It's not always black and white. It's not you made it or you failed. It's always there's an in between, and it's that process that matters. So being willing to adjust the goal. Maybe you set a goal of, I'm going to meal plan for 5 dinners a night. And a few weeks in, you realize this isn't an achievable goal. Instead of trying to stick with something that you feel like you're failing at, adjusting it to something that's more reasonable. If I'm going to meal plan 2 nights a week or 3 nights a week, right? And you're way more likely to achieve that goal than try to stick with something that ultimately ends up in frustration and then you just dropping it completely. In terms of nutrition goals as well, something that I also wanted to mention is it's not always about just what we're eating, but how we're eating, when we're eating, who we're eating with. So being really mindful about the whole experience, nutrition experience, listening to our hunger cues, making sure we're taking time when we're eating meals, putting the screens away for a second. And all of these can be small goals within that overarching goal you make for your nutrition, is including the how, when, who, along with the what are you actually eating.
I love that. Awesome tip, Sarah. I'm also laughing too, because how many long runs do we go on? And we're like 2 or 3 miles into the run, and I'm like, I'm starving. And Sarah's like, what did you eat for breakfast? I'm like, I didn't eat breakfast. I woke up and had coffee, and here I am.
That would be a good goal for you.
Dinner last night, barely anything, was too busy to eat. So it all comes with intentionality. And and two, I think like not even like what the outcome of the goal is, but like how do you want to feel during the experience of running? Not just like, do I want to get the benefit, say like, oh, I got a 12 or 15 or 18 mile run in. That's not really always the point. The point is to feel good during your run. But
exactly,
it's actually eating enough. So I'm guilty of that all the time. Like, or I just eat while I run, which is something we just do. Like, I
Well,
hope
that's important too. I mean, you're
I
fueling
think
during
so.
your run. You have
Yeah.
to do both.
But the planning and being flexible, I think, is important.
Yeah.
And something I think we find too right now with this challenge is, like, I faced it today of there are times where we really should choose to take a break from the hustle and bustle of life to exercise, to run. And then there are other times though when doing that and skipping out on something else that like really just need to get done or you want to get done, like, is also beneficial. Like, I don't think we talk about the flip end of that very often. Like, a lot of
Yeah.
times it's this guilt if you didn't do your workout because you wanted to cross something else off the list, but like sometimes the exact opposite is true too. So having that grace
Mhm.
and that awareness to like make those decisions of what am I going to feel better about doing right now? Like really just grinding through this and getting through it, knowing that like
Mhm.
tomorrow is a new slate and a new canvas where I can get my run in,
Yeah.
like
Something I
properly meal plan, or is today a day of like ordering takeout for the family, getting through this thing, but like being very conscious of that decision and the implications, and then tomorrow going back to plan A.
exactly. That's something I say a lot with clients is sometimes we just have to accept it for what it is and move on. When we don't accept it and we start to just dwell on things and it creates kind of a shame or a guilt spiral that we can't get out of, sometimes just like
Yeah.
things just don't go right that day. And it's okay. It's not about that one instance or that one day. It's about how you handle those challenges and that you're able to move on from it.
Mhm. Yeah, the grace factor is big in all of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, any other questions from anyone watching? Okay, Tommy said, "You eat breakfast before your morning runs?" No, I don't, Tommy, and that's my problem. Um,
I almost go the opposite. If you are ever on a run with me and you ask me what I had for breakfast, I mean, Mandy, Alice, if she's watching,
Alice is watching.
they can tell you. I'll be like, I had this, 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 and this. Like, I cannot run without having like a 3-course breakfast.
Sarah woke up 4 hours before the morning runs to have a course meal, and she'll be like, "What did you have?" I'm like, "Well, I drank coffee on the way here, and then I ate a banana, like, 5 seconds ago, and I'm still eating it."
Yeah,
To each their own. You have to find what works for you, but
you do.
I think, like, I've learned a lot of hard lessons. Like, I've adapted to being able to run without eating before, but there also are those long runs where you're depleted 5 miles
Mhm.
in, 10 miles in, and you're like, "Well, I would feel a lot better if I would have taken the time."
Mhm. Because it comes down to for nutrition, it's not just about what's happening that run, but the daily nutrition too. Sometimes we take care of ourselves better in the days leading up to a run, and we think, it went well one time. I'll be fine again, but maybe that next time you weren't caring for yourself as well in the days leading up, and you just like crash and burn when normally you'd be okay. So I mean, nutrition is very it goes in such a flux up and down.
Yeah, for sure. So, let's see, I'm trying to see if anyone else has asked any other questions. I've got a lot of comments about nutrition. Imagine Zero World County. Thank you for your time, Sarah. Such an important topic. Nutrition is like preventative medicine for the mind, body, and spirit, essential for mental health. And I
And
think you touched a little bit on just the healthy relationship with food
Mhm.
and celebrating the food we get to eat and the people that we're with and taking time. And I liked